bachelor's and master's in from Srinagar, Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir itself. I done my master's in structural engineering from NIT Srinagar, and I was the top of the class. And then I pursued my PhD here because I had to stay with my family. Somebody had to stay here, so my brother was outside, so I had to. Someone has to stay here. So I pursued my PhD from the same institute, which I am like about to finish. My defense will be in this week probably.
Okay, great. Good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So during my PhD, I had performed like my area of concern is earthquake engineering with a specialization in vibration control. So I performed both numerical and analytical work, and experimental work. For that, I went to IIT Roorkee, where I spent like 6 to 8 months performing the experimental part of my work.
Okay.
So during my this PhD, I have published like 8 papers and a patent as well. And like most of the papers are in SCIQ1 journals. So the next next iteration, or you can say next thing I had to look for is a postdoc. So I was looking for a academic postdoc, not an industrial one. So because I want to go to the academics, my aim like is in like I want to be an assistant professor and all.
Okay.
So and in that I want to be actively in the research part as well. So the next progression itself would have been going for a postdoc, but due to this pandemic I'm not able to like get a good postdoc because first the funding is not there or the travel restrictions are there. So I got a postdoc opportunity from China, that is Zhejiang University. So I had like contacted one of the professors there. So he offered me a postdoc position there. So as I only went there because it's one of the top 50 universities in the world. So that was only my concern. That was the only reason I applied. Rest of the universities I have not heard back from them because like they are still in the process of processing these forms and all. I have not heard back from them, and this is the only concrete offer that I have gotten
as of now.
As of now, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So a couple of questions for you, Zubair.
Sure.
One is, when you said you want to get into academics, to be precise, where you see yourself? I mean, is it in China or is it in
No,
Middle
actually,
East, or is it in Srinagar? Is it in Hyderabad?
If it is like in my own hometown, it's better. If it is like in Europe or any other US, like I will prefer that. I don't see myself living in China.
Okay.
For a extended period of time.
Right. Okay, so I will give you my piece of advice, and this is based on my experience talking to students like you for so long, and also I have spoken to students who are postdocs in China. I have spoken to them also, so I will tell you what has been told to me and my feedback and what I have seen.
Definitely.
Okay, and I will be very clear on my things, but as I said, it's just
be as brutal as it possible.
Yeah, and you have to understand. I always say, usually we live in a world where everything falls under a normal distribution, but there are always outliers. So you could be one, but you are the one who can tell yourself, right? Okay, so a couple of things here. For you to get an academic position in US or in Europe, you have to move out from there, right? I don't know how that is going to affect your personal life, because you mentioned that's important, looks like important to you, and that would be, and so what I'm saying, it will disturb that part for sure.
Sure.
You have to stay away from your parents or whatever, and it's not going to happen that you can, it's almost impossible for you to take them with you.
Them along, yeah.
Not possible. I was not able to do it for 15 years. So I'm just telling you. And by the time they are 80 years old. So just to let you know, this is what the reality is. If that is important, if that is important for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but coming back to the point, just talking about career, the only way for you to become a professor in Europe or US or UK is most likely you have to do a postdoc there. Doing a postdoc in China is not going to help in any way. So basically what will happen is if you get into China and you said, oh, that's the only thing I have, and you rush into that, you are delaying the problem. You eventually have to do another postdoc. Understand
Exactly.
my point? And usually it's not recommended. Okay,
Yeah,
so
because of the-
that's number one thing. Number two, you have to also look at geopolitics, what people in the world and the countries are doing these days. China is not a very friendly place for most of the world, most of the countries.
Exactly.
So I have, and there's other data that I can share with you is, if you look at people, let's say you want to become a professor in India, okay, you have to look at people. Okay, let's say how many people who have done their PhD and then went to postdoc in China are professor in India
This is in
versus
India.
who have gone to US or UK and become a professor, right?
Exactly.
And the ratio would be almost 99.99%.
Exactly.
Right. So the data doesn't suggest that that is the right move if that's what you want in either
Right path.
becoming a professor in US, UK, or either in India.
Exactly.
But I would also suggest you one thing is, if let's say you do a postdoc in India, and when I say postdoc India, I didn't mean postdoc from NIT or anywhere else. I mean postdoc from IC Bangalore, to be very specific.
Yeah.
Postdoc
Exactly.
from IIT Bombay, to be very specific.
Sure.
Then definitely you have a way better chances to become a professor even at your own institute where you are.
Exactly.
Much better chances.
Actually,
And the reason
yeah,
is
sure.
because you have to understand it works the same way in India also, in US also, that these things work on most of the time on whom you are doing a postdoc, how big the guy is, who is well known. So if you are able to do postdoc at ISC with a very well-renowned professor, the chances are you becoming a professor at NIT, any NITs for that matter. I'm
Exactly.
not sure about the well-established IITs. Maybe IITs which are up and coming, like IIT Jammu or something,
Exactly.
is very feasible.
Sure.
But doing
Actually,
a postdoc in China, I'm not sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I have like applied for a C.V. Raman fellowship. One of the professors from IIT Bangalore, I approached him, and he was well okay to support me in that. So
Okay.
we wrote an research proposal, and I have submitted it to that. I'm yet to hear from that.
Yeah. So
I
what I'm
talked to
saying
him
is,
about.
what I'm saying, if that comes along, if I was you, I would probably join that versus going to China.
Exactly. I like talked to him about it. I asked him directly and bluntly about it. I told him if I have an opportunity from China, I have this opportunity. Should I prefer that or IIT Bangalore? He told me that China is a way better option. But I
don't know why he says that, or there has to be some reason. I mean, you should find
he
out
told
the
me
reason.
just because of the ranking itself. Because of the ranking itself, he told me that IIT Bangalore is in hundreds or something, 200 or something.
But my point here is, then see, I always say, what is the objective?
Exactly.
Right. The objective is so there might be a good ranking university in Korea, much better than that. Can you go there, or in Japan? So my point here is, the what is the final goal? Your final goal is not to, because there are people I know that have done postdoc and started working in China as a professor or whatever. Good for them. But if you don't have that objective, then I would.
Exactly.
And then also, one of the things that I have worked in Japan quite a lot.
Yeah, I
And
know that.
I've been to Korea. The problem with the Asian countries are one of the problems that I realized, other than and Europe also in some reason, but not Middle East or UK and US or Canada. The cultural, the society is so homogeneous that you have a personal challenges a lot there for longer terms. So for long term to stay there, I'm not sure. I personally am not comfortable. I can visit there and work there as a visiting guy for 2-3 months and then come back. Yeah.
Living there is something else.
Yeah. So living and have a family there is I'm not sure.
Exactly.
So that would be my suggestion to you. But looking at your CV and everything, it looks fine to me. I mean, it's just a matter of time, to be honest with you, for a postdoc. And one thing I will also suggest to you, if you are applying for a postdoc, and I say that very often, postdocs usually are very informal positions. And they work on referrals, not like a faculty where it's announced and you have to sit in a committee. So try to go through your professors whom you know, whether it's IT Roorkee or anywhere. If they
Exactly.
can talk to someone, the chances for you to get a postdoc are way higher, rather than you randomly sending him an email.
I think that's a problem with me. I'm a very introvert kind of a guy, so I don't
No, but
talk
you
much
know,
about it.
yeah,
So
yeah, but if it's gonna hurt your career, you need to change.
exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
So I mean, I can tell you my story. Okay, here. So
Sure.
I did my PhD when I was finishing in Maryland, and I was applying for a postdoc after PhD. Right after we submitted my thesis and all, and I went to a couple of interviews, had a position secured, and then I found about this position at Johns Hopkins, and I was very inclined to that because I love that work, what that guy was doing,
Exactly.
and it was a better university and all that. But overall, the work was very nice, and I was like, I want this one. And I emailed the professor, didn't hear back from a week. So what I
Okay.
did, I directly called him, and fortunately, he picked it. And I said,
Sure.
"Hey, I have sent you an email. Did you can chance to look at it and all that?" And that he said, "Next day, can you come?" I came, and he gave me an offer. My point here is, if
Like
I
yeah.
would have hesitated not to do it, and let me tell you, that postdoc changed my life. I can tell you my professional career, not my PhD or anything. So
Exactly.
don't hesitate. You know, you have to understand one thing. I personally would say that people who are aggressive and you want something and you are after it, you it's like you have to go with it, and trust me, I don't think in today's era,
Be brutal about
people
it.
people, let's say you are trying to call a professor or something,
Sure.
if it's a sensible guy, if I was a professor and a student is that passionate, he's calling me at night and saying,
Exactly.
this is what I want, and I see focus, I would be way happier, rather than someone who
Exactly.
writes a very wrong email with has no structure, and you know, doesn't give a time.
Rudimentary
Yeah,
words.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, you know, so and also how you are sending an email, a lot of time, especially because we live in India, and I used to do the same thing as an undergrad. We tend to put a lot of adjectives and fly reward rather than what makes sense.
Exactly.
You have to be short and to the point, because nobody has
Size.
time to read it. There are people writing two paragraph email, I'm passionate and this and that. I mean, there is nonsensical things. I mean, what can I do? You're passionate. I want to see, rather than writing I'm passionate, right? I have published 3 papers and these are the things. This is a citation. I would love that. More
Exactly.
quantifiable, right?
Exactly.
So make sure what type of email you also send. But as I said, for a postdoc, going through your professor is going to make or break the deal. It's, and remember,
Sure.
you are, so in my case, Johns Hopkins was 20 kilometers where I used to live, because I did my PhD at Maryland. So for me, talking to someone was easier. That's the other way.
Easy.
But if you don't, these days it's very hard to communicate, right?
Definitely. Exactly.
So
Mhm.
you
Understood.
have to understand that, and also, as I said to you, um, try, if, because you have done good work, and if you really want to move into this area, quite a, try to find where they have a good program and good professors in earthquake engineering. And I'm pretty sure you know those people because you have done
Exactly.
PhD. I won't know it. I mean, I know there's a good program in Stanford or Berkeley. They do a lot of
Yeah.
work on that. So try to figure that out. It also sometimes a funding issue, to be honest. So
Exactly.
you can also walk through some of the fellowships that are out there. It's a long shot, but you know, if you don't do it, you won't get it.
Definitely. Yeah, that's my question about it. There are certain fellowship that begin from like June. We can start applying from that, and they result in August and September.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking you. Wanted to ask you about those fellowships. If I apply for those fellowships, it's a long shot. No, if I will get it or not. So I have to wait for a year. So that's why the question arises: should I go for the China and then start applying consecutively with on those fellowships, or like drop the China altogether and work on those? like something should be in my hand. I
No,
am not
no,
used to like,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm to be honest with you, I'm not very against it, but you have to understand that what are you looking for? Do you know how long is this postdoc is going to be?
yeah. They gave me an offer for 2 years.
Okay. I mean, here's
Yeah,
the another thing
with the
that you can,
possibility of one more year. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But what I'm saying is, here is the another possibility is 2 years is not a long time, in my opinion,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And it it won't hurt you to go there, be there, get an experience, learn as much as you can. And to be
Exactly.
honest with you, go there with an open mind that, let's say, if you don't like it, you might come back in 6 months.
Sure.
Go with that
Yeah,
mindset.
I have an opportunity of in June to get UK. That's a University of Leeds. I have an opportunity there, but that arises in June or July. It starts there.
No, but do you have an
But the thing
offer
is,
in hand?
no, not enough in hand. They like the professor has told me like you might get it. Like
Yeah,
I
there
am
is
willing
no,
to support you on that.
yeah, but there is no mind. I don't
Like
believe
that's
in mind. Yeah. No, I
exactly,
believe
and
in what
that's
you
like
have hand. Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, as I said, it's a tough decision, but if you see, here's the another thing too.
Sure.
If you feel that this university and this professor are really good,
Okay.
because it's also depends on, let's say, if you get a postdoc offer from two places, right, and how you choose. So let's say you get from University of Leeds, and professor, the research work is
Not up to the
okay,
mark.
not up to Mario. I mean, I won't go there either.
Sure. Exactly.
So what I'm saying is, it is you who can say, okay, I see these cons about China, and going there and do a postdoc, but what are the pros that can overcome that?
Exactly.
So write it down and say, okay, the research work is amazing. This guy publishes in like awesome journals. This guy is really great.
Sure.
He does really good work. You can see from his work, and you can also see, I mean, if they have websites, usually they don't, or if they look at his web,
That
look
page.
at
Yeah.
his Google Scholar or any page, and look at it,
Page.
how much how much he has published. Because one of the things you have to understand as a postdoc is, you really don't want to go and join a professor who doesn't have a good publishing record. You really want to publish.
Okay. Sure.
Usually Chinese
Sure.
professors or Indian professors are really good in publishing anyway. But
Exactly.
look at the quality and all that. So, and as you said, you are the one. What I'm trying to avoid is, you should not go there just because you don't have any offer and this is the only place. That's all.
Okay.
You should go
Sure.
there because the professor is good, the university is good, the guy
Stays
does
good.
really good work, and you have looked at his work, you have referred as it work. When we were doing PhD, we tend to do literature review, so we know like who's the professor, in our field.
Exactly.
So if
Exactly.
he's on one of those professors, there's no question.
No, I can say straight away to you, he's not that kind of a guy who like publishes a lot or has a reputation in publishing. But the thing is, he's giving me all the freedom and all the like grants to work with. He's still like given me a like direct contract is that as much as you can publish and as much as you can get the equal amount of funding and
Is he a new
bonuses.
professor or is he an old professor?
Yeah, he's a junior professor. Exactly.
No, I mean, that's fine too, because, I would say another thing is that I tend to avoid is, which I have done mistakes in my career. I tend to go for professors who are big, and then they are old. So by the time
Not
you
willing
are,
to. Yeah, they are not willing to.
no, what happens is, you want to work with professors who are young because they become your
Have the hunger.
source of help. But what happens if
Exactly.
you work with a professor who's just 70 years old, he retires after 5 years, and you're like, what the hell? I have done that
And he has
mistake.
not
So
a motivation for that. Exactly.
yeah.
He doesn't have the
So
motivation to publish.
right. And I mean, they're not all the ones are the same. But what I'm saying is, the new professors, I would say the new generation has a very open mindset, and they're aggressive, and they want to work, and they are very open. So that's also a case.
Sure.
So I would say, as I
Sure.
said, right now you don't have anything, so it's a tough decision for sure. So yeah, I mean, it won't hurt for you to go there. I would say and join there, going with an open mind that, you know, if you really don't like it, you will drop it. But you
Exactly.
know, if you go there and work there for even a year, you can always do another postdoc, because usually postdocs are 3 year. So you know, you have ample time.
True.
Even, you know, here is the thing: if you come back to India and want to become a professor, I believe the requirement is PhD and 3 year, even for assistant professor.
Yeah.
So you have to do a 3 year postdoc. So you can say, I can spend 1 year in there, and maybe at that time I can still try to figure it out where I want to go next, because that will create a lot of value too, to be honest.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
So that's
all
not a
I
bad
wanted
idea.
to hear.
Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
bad idea.
That's why I
So,
wanted that time to like figure out things,
yeah.
because I don't want to sit idle and like do it.
No. That's actually, to be honest with you, I didn't know that you don't have another offer. So definitely that's a no.
Yeah.
That's unless until
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really bad, you know, really you don't want to
Exactly. If it's
even.
toxic kind of a,
Yeah.
yeah.
But as I said,
Exactly.
you don't know, right? They're unknown. So what I'm saying is, you go there, you might really like it, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not bad to spend 1 year and do another postdoc in US or somewhere, right?
Somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
that will create a lot of value for you, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Yeah. If I get an offer from IISc Bangalore, so what I should go for that then?
You know, the reason I said about IISc Bangalore, to be honest with you, is the only reason is because that will definitely help you to get a job in Indian institutes, NITs, and all that, way
Yeah.
much more. Because trust me,
Then these.
the you know, if you work, I mean, I know people. Actually, I have done my summer internship at IISc Bangalore in 2004. So
Sure.
I know a couple of professors there. I actually, the professor I did internship, he's earthquake guy. Actually, he's a director now at IIT Guwahati, TGC Taram. He was my
Yeah.
I worked with him for 2 months in summer. And there is another professor there. She's a lady, Gali Madhvilata, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a geotechnical engineering person. So he used to
Okay.
be a postdoc at that time. He's a full professor now. So anyway, what I was trying to tell you is, I see Bangalore professors and all these. If you work there for 2 years or something, for you to get into, because you know, to get into NITs as a professor, you have to make connection. That connection is going to help you quite a lot.
Exactly.
So I mean, you also have to understand what's your goal is, you know, what you want. So I would definitely agree that being at ISC is going to help you way a lot getting into academic position in India versus postdoc somewhere else. Because, you know, well, I will give you my example. Once I finished my postdoc, I was like, let's go to India and apply. And I got interviews at IC Bangalore and IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi. But they said you need another 2 years of a postdoc, because I was just graduated from my PhD. And
Yeah.
at that, and then after 2 years or so, you started making your own connections here. And most of my education is here, only undergrad in India, so I didn't know many people anyway. And then what happens is, then you realize you lose that touch, and you don't know people, and that's very important. So for me, the people I knew was in US, right? So for me, applying in US was much easier.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's for sure. You know, as I said, it's going to depend on that goal, what you have. So your goal is that in that case, in my opinion, if you work at IC for 2 years and work on your networking, and make sure that you tell professor that this is what I would like to do, and this is my goal is, you will get it, no doubt.
Definitely. Yeah. So
anything else, Juba?
Those are
You
all
want
the
to talk?
questions I had. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
cool.
for your time.
Oh, not a problem. And good luck, and keep in touch. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.